This would be a funny story if it weren't so sad. Why is it sad? Well, this investment fund went from $6 billion under management, $6 billion, to $200 million within a fairly short space of time. Why? What mistake did it make? Well, Jim Chanos famously bet against Tesla, and it went very, very badly. Now, Elon Musk has chimed in, and he basically said, "So long, Jim." Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. I personally hate short sellers. The reason I hate them is because I feel like they often manipulate the market. They often intentionally release information that is manipulative, that is possibly deceitful. They appear on television and give these predictions and make these ridiculous comments, and there's no onus on them to prove anything they're saying. There's no onus on them to prove if the comments they're making are actually factually correct. And as a result, often the market reacts to that. So personally, I have no sympathy of any kind for this fund or for any of the people who invested in this fund. They knew what they were doing, and if they didn't, well, come on, they should have. Elon Musk responded to the news of Jim Chanos, an aggressive Tesla short seller, well, used to be until basically everyone deserted the fund, his decision to close his fund. I mean, he makes it sound like it's his decision to close the fund, but the truth is no one was interested anymore. I mean, it had lost so much money that people just went, "See you, Jim, we're off." And so he didn't really have a choice here. I mean, realistically, when you go from $6 billion to $200 million, it means, probably the majority of the funds left in there were his. I mean, he's lost a lot of money of his own money, but realistically, he still has some. I don't know how much of it was, though. Anyway, in a post on X or Twitter, Musk said that he warned short sellers that betting against Tesla was not a good idea. It was very risky. The future would change. And realistically, Jim Chanos made very public comments, right? Mainstream media saying Tesla was extremely overvalued, just tore Tesla to shreds, hoping that, well, he would make money, that basically his short position would work. And it didn't. Because what Jim didn't realize was that the automotive industry was fundamentally changing. So when Jim initially started his position in Tesla, Tesla's price to earnings ratio was ridiculous. I mean, it wasn't making a profit. But realistically, that completely changed. Tesla began making a profit. The rest is history. But Jim wasn't smart enough to say, well, hang on a minute, this business model has changed. I mean, Tesla are now making a profit. Their price to earnings ratio dropped to around 50. At that point in time, I think the writing was on the wall. It was clear what was happening. It's strange to me that people in this situation, their sunk cost bias, it prevents them from being able to make a smart decision. That's what happened. Famed short seller Jim Chanos, who has made a name for himself betting against Enron, which was obviously a wise move, said he was closing his fund recently. In a letter to investors of his fund, or those who are left, Kinnikos Associates, Chanos said that the bulk of the fund would be returned to investors by the end of the year. He said, "It's no secret that the long-short equity business model has come under pressure and interest in fundamental stock pickers has waned. While I am as passionate as ever about research and investing, I feel compelled to pursue these passions in a different construct." I don't know what that means. It's just some vague nonsense in my opinion. But anyway, he said this in a letter which was viewed by the Financial Times. So Chanos, he was one of the most famous Tesla short sellers. And because he was so successful in his short position against Enron, I mean, Enron was literally a Ponzi scheme, so that made sense, people decided that, well, he must know what he's talking about. And what happened was, as a result, because they didn't really do their due diligence, they just hoped that this guy knew what he was doing, they lost a lot of money. Now, even in September this year, as in middle of September 2023, Chanos said, "We're short Tesla. We just think it's ridiculously overvalued." So this is only a couple of months ago. And all of a sudden, finally, Chanos has said, well, it's time to close the fund. Elon Musk said to Chanos, "I did warn the shorts that this would happen." Now, he tweeted this on the 18th of November. And, well, he's right. Now, the incredible thing is Tesla is still one of the most shorted companies in the market. And if you think about it, whilst it does look like Tesla is overvalued, if you consider them just a car company, I think even the biggest critics of Tesla no longer think they're just a car company. I mean, they're a very different business to BMW. Do you see BMW installing batteries all over the world, or having software to be able to make money out of basically thin air, which is what their energy arbitrage software does in many different countries? Do you see them applying to be actual electricity suppliers in various countries? No, I mean, it's a very, very different business. And if you go on something like price to earnings ratio, if you compare Tesla to, say, other automotive companies, for sure, they're definitely overvalued. Compare them to BYD, yes, definitely overvalued. But here's the thing. Betting against Tesla in the past never worked. There was always some kind of logical reasoning we could all come up with to say, this is why Tesla will fail. This is why Tesla won't succeed. People have been doing this now for year after year after year. It's the thing. Identify why they will fail. And I think a lot of this comes from our personal feelings and emotions about, the founder or the CEO, Elon Musk. A lot of it comes from a lot of people's dislike of him. He makes comments, people react to those, and then it becomes an emotional critique. Once we critique a company on an emotional level, obviously, objectivity is impossible.